Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
So I actually want to start it off talking a little bit about your kids, and I know how important they are to you. And I wanted to know what you feel, what you think it's going to be like for them watching you go through life with living a life with so much grit and like resilience. How is that going to change their point of view on life, and what do you think how that's going to influence them?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. Thank you so much. I think first of all, my kids are pretty damn tough all by themselves. They don't need me. Um, they don't need me to teach them grit. They have been instilled, I think, with their own fire and their own grit in their own way, and they're unique individuals that I am blessed to share my life with and to guide and to nurture and um, shepherd, but they are gritty all on their own. Yeah, it's a balance, right? Like they're the most important in my life. It goes God, my family, and then fighting. And so I always try it and live my life that way and put God at the center. And then my family comes next and then my career. But it's important to me, especially um, I don't want to say especially with my daughter because with my son too, but it's important for me to let them know by my actions that it's okay to chase dreams and it's okay to live life on fire and it's okay to to try and to fail and to try again and to keep getting up and to keep showing up. I mean, I just had a conversation with my daughter this morning, and it's like little things like um she's like complaining about having to eat a healthy breakfast. And I'm like, listen, it's not that I'm trying to be mean and make you eat. I don't want to be mean. I'm not doing it because I want to be in charge. I'm doing it because I love you and I want you to love you. I want you to love you enough to take good care of yourself. I want you to love your body and to love yourself. And we do that by taking good care of ourselves, by showing up for ourselves. And so it's just little things like that. I think that I want to teach them that maybe I wasn't taught, but that I've learned through my life.
That's a great message. And my follow-up question to that is to what you said was the most important thing in your life, your faith. And I wanted to know if you could like share with us some part in your MMA journey, your judo journey, where that faith carried you through a moment of doubt or something like that.
Yeah, another great question. I mean, I don't think that you can point to a moment in my life where God hasn't been present, from a very young age, I had a faith in God and I didn't really know what that meant. But even in my journals when I was a kid, I would write, Dear God, and they were my prayers. And we didn't go to church all the time or anything when I was a kid. I didn't grow up like um, in that environment, but I have just always believed in a higher power. What really happened for me as I've grown older, um, and I think that this just speaks to like healing and age and wisdom, is like I've always believed in a higher power, but I always struggled to believe that there was a God who loved me unconditionally. And that was just a story in my head, right? Like probably because of my past of being sexually abused and my father not being present in my life, because I didn't have a earthly father who was unconditionally there. I couldn't understand that there was a heavenly father, a higher power who loved me unconditionally. And it took a lot of breakdowns to have that breakthrough. There were many moments where I've been at rock bottom in my life and I've thought, oh, it doesn't get worse than this. And um yeah, God has been in every single one of those moments and he has never stopped showing up for me and never stopped loving me. And the good news is I've survived 100% of the bad things that have happened in my life. And having that kind of having that kind of knowledge I think makes you a special kind of, to use the word we
Human
used
being.
earlier, gritty, like I know that no matter what life throws at me, I'm going to be okay.
That's awesome. That's a great message to hear. And congratulations. And actually,
It was amazing.
I want, sorry?
No, go ahead.
Actually, I wanted to talk a little bit more about your foundation, because a lot of the fans, they'll see the belts, they'll see all the successes, but they won't really see the process of healing you have to go through to get to that place, through all of the hardships and everything. So I wanted to hear a little bit about you, about how the Fearless Foundation was started, how what drove you into being that voice for the people that can't speak for themselves, that can't defend themselves.
Absolutely. So, I was sexually abused by my first judo coach, and it was only when I was 16 and suicidal and um, a broken down mess that I finally told my mom what had been happening. And she, thank God, believed me. She pressed charges. The FBI got involved. He served 10 years in a federal prison. And um, yeah, it was something that for a long time I didn't really talk about. And it all sort of happened again. Give all credit to God, where like I was training for my first Olympics. I was kind of a hopeful to maybe win a medal and maybe bring home America's first gold medal. It hadn't been done before. And so I was starting to get a little bit of attention. And I did this interview with a woman from a newspaper in America, USA Today. And the night before I did the interview, I got in a fight with one of my best friends because at the time there was this big scandal about a football team in America, Penn State, and there had been a countless alleged abuse victims who had come forward about a coach abusing them. And the head guy got fired. His name's Joe Paterno, and he got fired. And there were like riots about this football coach losing his job. And there were college kids who were flipping over cars and like setting stuff on fire because this guy who was in charge and who knew lost his job. And I couldn't believe that I lived in a society where people were rioting over a football coach losing his job, but no one was holding vigils for these victims. No one was like rioting for them. No one was talking about them. And I realized that it's because, people, there was no face. People didn't think it happened to them. Oh, it happens in the Boy Scouts, but my son's not a Boy Scout, or it happens in gymnastics, but my daughter doesn't do gymnastics, or it happens in the Catholic Church, but we're not Catholic. And that's just not true. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually assaulted before the age of 18. And those are just the kids that we know of. Those are just the kids that say something. So chances are, the probability is high that it's a much higher number. And so the next day when the reporter asked me, she said, your coach, Jimmy, said that you've been through a lot to get here. Do you want to talk about it? And it was really scary, but I said, yeah, I do want to talk about it. And I started speaking up and I started sharing my story and I started putting a face to it. And, again, like God's plan, I won the Olympics. And after I won the Olympics, I got invited to all these parties and I got, have your 15 minutes. But I also, like, my phone was ringing off the hook with, will you come speak to our girls group? And we're the rape crisis center in Kansas City. Will you come speak at our event? And like all of these organizations that were in the mud, they were doing this hard work of trying to help victims recover. But there was no big foundation. There was no like, there
No
was no
one, not
Yeah, there was no big
Not like a big.
organization. And so I realized like, okay, there's a need here. There's a need for a place for people to go and learn, not just to to be that they're not victims, but they're survivors, and to not just like survive, but to learn to thrive. And so I started the Fearless Foundation, and I ended up writing a book with two psychologists from McLean Hospital. It's called Fighting Back. And it's not a memoir and it's not a textbook. It's kind of a combination of the two. It's really like, it uses my story, it uses my journal entries, you know, all those years talking to God. And it explains what sexual abuse is. And it talks about what grooming is and why kids don't say something. And it gives you, you know, the survivor's point of view, but it also gives you the professional point of view. Like, here's the signs to look for. Here's the things you can talk to your kids about. Here's, you know, also hope at the end of this, because I do have a good story, and I did overcome this, and you can too, but it starts with education. And so, yeah, I basically haven't shut up since.
But it's a great message to be telling people. So honestly, there's no problem in speaking up about it. And I wanted to move in a little bit more into the sports side of things now. And from standing from everything that happened in your life to then going atop the Olympic podium twice in judo. And I'm a brown belt in judo, so I know how hard that can
I
possibly be.
heard.
So how does that feel, standing twice on that podium, hearing the American anthem, and then
Mm.
afterwards moving into the PFL, winning that twice, and now the gold, now the belt in the UFC? What are those emotions like?
Yeah. I can't believe my life most days. I gotta be honest with you. It's yeah, I am very blessed, and it has been quite the journey. If you had told me at 8 years old, at 12 years old, at 15 years old that I would be living the life that I live now, um I wouldn't have believed you. And it's not necessarily it's not the accomplishments. Don't get me wrong. I'm very proud of myself, and I'm very proud of like representing the United States and being the first to win a gold medal and winning two PFL titles and making enough money to change my life and my children's lives, and to being UFC champion. I'm very proud of that. But more than anything, I'm proud of the woman that I've become as a result. It's not everyone sees you under the bright lights. Everyone sees you standing on top of the podium. Everyone sees you with the belt going around your waist. But the long, hard road to get there, and the sacrifice and the journey, you know, and not giving up on myself, not giving up on my dream, and the people who've been a part of this journey. You know, my judo coach, I mean, Big Jim was in my corner when I won my belt on June 7th, and he's been there since the beginning. So to have someone in my life like that, to have the people in my life that I have, I'm really, really blessed. And to be the woman that I am now, I have a lot of gratitude. I have gratitude for the good and the bad. I wouldn't be who I am if it weren't for all of it. And I know that I've been given this story and this journey for a reason and for a purpose. And my belief in my motto and morals tell me that I have a duty and an obligation to use every single one of my gifts and every single one of my talents and leave nothing behind. Like, to give anything less than your best is to sacrifice the gift. And so I sleep good at night knowing that I've given my absolute best. And even if I didn't win, even if I didn't have that story, I still have that knowledge and that pride in myself.
Watching your fight live on June 7th was amazing to see someone from a judo background, knowing your story and everything, reaching the top of the pinnacle of the sport. It was incredible to watch. And more on that, you've you've definitely took the front of where women's MMA is heading now, right? With being one of the biggest names in sports, like your discussion with Henry, and being, as you say, and honestly, I agree, the biggest, like the most accomplished uh, combat athlete. I agree with that personally. How do you feel that pressure and that where do you think the sport's going to take you next? How are you going to deal sort of that pressure and just the pressure of being that person, the one that's everyone's going to look to being the the spokesperson sort of the sport?
Yeah. I mean, I think, thankfully, I've had a long road to get here, and I've had a lot of ups and downs and a lot of success and a lot of failure. And so that has properly equipped me to handle that pressure. And when I say that, I mean like, and I mean this with all respect to fans and to journalists and to people who it's their job to have opinions of me. But to me, your opinion doesn't matter. And it's not personal. It's just that, like, I live my life for God and for my family and for myself. And so, yes, it's an honor and a privilege and a responsibility that I don't take lightly. But as long as I stay true to myself, as long as I stand in my truth, no matter what the cost, everybody benefits. And um, I'm honored and I'm excited. I'm excited about what the future holds for women's MMA. I'm ready to, I've been tagged in about a bazillion posts saying that I'm the only American champion now in the UFC. And,
True.
I've got big shoulders. So put that weight on me. I'm ready to carry it. And the goal is not for me to carry it forever. The goal is for me to pave a road so that the next young woman or the next young champion can stand on top of my shoulders and take it even further. I've always said that I want to be the greatest. Um, I never enter into anything with less than that in mind, but it's a never ending journey. I'm never going to be finished. I'm never going to be like, all right, well, I can be done now. Like, yes, there will become a point when I retire from MMA, but then it's going to be on to the next adventure, and it's going to be on to the next challenge. And it's going to be my duty to help the next generation. And I'm honored by that, and I'm looking forward to it. I don't want to be the greatest of all time forever. I don't want to be the only Olympic champion from America forever. I want other people to smash my records. I want people to stand on my shoulders and to continue to push forward.
Um, And with your next fight, right? Most likely, if we saw at the end of your at the championship winning fight being most likely with it's nothing been confirmed yet, but with Amanda Nunes, what do you feel like that will do for your legacy, and how do you feel like that will shape the way people will look at you looking forward and having this super fight in the women's
I mean, from
MMA?
the beginning of MMA, from beginning of my MMA journey, I've always wanted to challenge myself and to compete against the best. I think that um, again, I wasn't ready when I first started. Like I have grown, I have changed, I have gotten better, and I think that now is my time. I believe that I'm the best fighter in the world now. I do believe that Amanda is the greatest. And so the biggest honor I can give to her is to say, hey, I think you're the best and I want to share the cage with you. And it's not ill will, and it's not going to be a bad situation. It's really about like challenging myself and again, not being afraid to live my life out loud and to push myself to new heights. And to keep climbing. So I'm really looking forward to that. I do hope that the fight happens. I'm not
It's not your only goal.
it's not my only goal. Like if it doesn't happen, it's okay. Like I'll continue to do what I need to do in order to have peace in my life. But selfishly, of course, I want to face the best. So that would be amazing.
And I wanted to talk a little bit. This is personal curiosity, but I feel like a lot of people wanted to know. We all saw the pictures of you during the weight cut, and how drained, especially that photo of you in the sauna. I want to know, how was it like from going from such a physical, literally, and mental low on Friday to that high after winning the belt on the Saturday? How do you reset after that? What's the
um yeah, it's not easy, and it's definitely physically the hardest thing I've ever done. I again, I a lot of it has to do with surrender and with faith. I'm not I'm not going to pretend like I did that or I accomplished that. There are some things in life that only God can do, and me weighing in at 135 pounds is is one of those things.
can
Um,
imagine?
but all credit to my team as well. He placed these people in my life for a reason, and um, Dara and Eric, they have it down to a science, and they are, the most professional team. And I'm so blessed to have them in my life. And even my coaches, that whole night in the sauna, they're all three there. They're all three in the fire with me. I wasn't alone. I was supported and lifted up. And when I didn't want to keep going, they were there to remind me that it was going to be worth it. And it was, it was worth it. It wasn't pretty. I don't recommend, I don't approve, but it was worth it.
It was truly like moving, having seen the pictures prior to watching you fight, and then watching you dominate someone that the way you did, and having seen how you looked like prior. It was just truly moving, and one of the biggest examples of human resilience I've seen in a while, of just getting from point A to point B, not looking back, and just truly trying to just stay in the moment. And it was just truly, truly incredible from you. Do you want to say anything to like Brazilian fans that are watching you for the first time, getting to know you, your rise?
I really just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Um, I have a lot of great memories in Brazil. I won my second Olympic gold medal there. I One of my biggest rivals, both in MMA and judo, is from Brazil, and so I have the utmost respect for Brazilian people. You guys are warriors, and you're fighters in your spirit. And so I thank you for your support. And I even thank you if you don't like me, because yeah, that's what makes this sport great. And that I wouldn't have the honor of doing what I do if it weren't for the fans and it weren't for the people. So I'm grateful for all of it. Thank you guys so much. I love you. And I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you. Congratulations on your belt one more time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for a great interview. You did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you
All
for
right.
agreeing
I
with
gotta run. I'm sorry.
opinion.
Take care.
Bye bye.